my own private Easter this summer, and that made me think of this passage. It really was a dream job. No night work, no stewardship drives, no recruiting Sunday school teachers, no dressing up old stuff, trying to make it look cool like Christian music, no budget preparation, no planning, no subscribing the budget, no staffing, no consensus building meetings forever. In fact, no preaching. Why? No people. You know how congregations tend to complicate things and have them get messy. But Jesus was there. There was a statue of him right on the Swedish altar. And it was a ceramic figure of Christ. Maybe it was porcelain. It was very clear and pretty and beautiful. Maybe it was alabaster. But the congregation in the church, like so many all over the world, were either dying or dead. But just for a minute, picture a chapel on a hill on a sea coast off of Norway, with seafaring traffic going back and forth, a lot of luxury boats and tourists who tie up their boat and either go to get a cafe au lait or take a spiritual tour of a church on a hill. I took the ferry to work, and it was so picturesque. I used to say to myself, when did I die and go to Disneyland? I wasn't a docent or a history guide because I'm not Swedish. I don't know their history. But my job as a theologian was the miracle of being present, being there just in case any of the spiritual tourists and church onlookers who were coming there might want to actually talk about God. Well, I set up a coffee machine thinking, well, people will come in here and they'll want to talk, but the last thing they want to do when they come into a church, I guess, is talk. In fact, well, one couple did talk and say, we just came in because it was raining and we thought maybe if we prayed we'd get the rain stopped and get on with our vacation. And actually, if we knew there was any real religion going on here, we never would have come in. And that's when I kept hearing this verse from Luke's story. When the women came to the tomb, and they were met by the two men in bling-bling, living fashion statements, saying, why do you seek the living among the dead? They could have said, why do you seek the dead among the living? Because they were coming to embalm Jesus. But I've thought about that verse many times. What is it? Why do we come here? Are we looking for history? Cool architecture? Old stories? Maybe just memories. Maybe that's why they're so quiet. They want to come and listen and see if there's a memory. A lot of people really do view the church as it was, as being dead. Actually, they're just afraid that it's dead. And there's a kind of desperation that goes on when institutions are dying. And they're going to beef it up. They're going to call in a consultant. They're going to try to get things going. Move off the ground. Rally. Everybody get excited about something. Get pumped up. And sort of a resuscitation effort, but it's not real. And it's so exhausting. And it's a setup. But you know what? Finally, I love the research that's going on right now. What do you think? With surprising research in institutional work is in terms of resuscitating old, dying corporations. You're a science teacher, Becky? Science. They're going for science. And science teaches us. This is the upside of evolution, by the way. There is a creation, godly side to evolution. That within an organism, internal memory is a desire to perpetuate itself. It's there in God's it's like we're God's greatest science project. Inside of us is this will to carry on and survive. It's not going to, it's going to adapt to the surroundings, to the environment. That's how we're wired. That we're going to change and deal with chaos and deal with the threat of extinction, but we will fight back and we're going to survive somehow because it's in our memory. Somebody once said that church was a place of memory and of hope. It's kind of hard to trust the hope without the memory. One day, one woman came. She had researched her family history on the internet, and she was, I think, from Finland. And she found out that her mother had been baptized in this little chapel on the hill in 1914 or something like that. And so she came and asked, well, can I come in and get my picture taken by the baptismal fount because my mother was baptized there. And she was so emotional and so proud, and she marched right in, and she was standing in front of the baptismal fount getting her picture taken. And she was really moved by that she had been confirmed, and the memory of her mother and her internal spiritual history from baptism came through, and there she was. And she was so excited. When she left, she forgot her sunglasses. The church is a place of memory and a place of hope. Right now, with the world as complicated it is and as frustrating as we're all, even the youngest child, we're all having memory problems. We're all forgetting things, little things. But there's an internal memory that we can hook into that will allow us to trust God that we are going to survive. It may not be what we think it's going to be, but we're going to take a hold of that memory as deep as it is. One thing that these institutional people stress is that instead of all these beefing up programs, what we really need to do is trust our relationships, make them stronger. The scientists all say everything's interconnected. Everything is based on that connectivity and relationships, and that's what we should strengthen, is the relationships we have with each other. Look at us, we're friends. I think that matters to God, and the primary relationship, which is why one day, in the absence of all these people, the most profound thing happened to me. I was locking up and said, memory, did I turn off that coffee pot? And so I came back in the church to make sure I turned it off, and when I looked up at the altar, I saw this hokey Jesus. And he just looked so ugly. His hands were out there, and suddenly I remembered the Jesus of my childhood. And the one who took me through my crazy teenage years. You know, the stupid mistakes. And the pain and the worries that I've had for congregations and children and myself, and safety and security and the people I prayed for. And I saw him there, and I remembered Lord's Prayer.